Hi folks, thanks for joining us again here at Code 504. My name is Mackenzie and today we're going to be starting to show you how to assemble the 47 to 54 Chevy Shortbed S10 Conversion kit. A little bit about this kit: you're going to get your new cab mounts, your new box mounts, new front clip mounts, new radiator support brackets, along with your bumper brackets for both the front and the rear, and then as well as the running boards there too. So the best frame to use for this kit is going to be a two-wheel drive standard cab long bed S10 pickup. That's the best one to use, and we actually prefer to use the square body style, the 82 to 93s. We think they're just easier to work with in general. So we've already gone ahead and we've pre-cut and pre-drilled our frame. We've also already installed the cross members. If you'd like to see how to do that, please go visit the installing the universal cross members video. So we're going to go ahead and show you kind of how to assemble the front clip portion of this kit. Alright folks, we're going to go ahead and install the driver and passenger front frame horn mounts. We've already cut our step pattern off the front of the S10 frame here. Before installing these frame horn brackets into our frame, is we want to put our little radiator support bracket on there. So this is actually going to look like that on your frame. This connects to your radiator support as well as your inner fender. It's easier to do this when the frame horn bracket is off because you have to slip a 3/8 by 2-inch bolt up through there, and that's going to be really tough if you were to try and do that with it on the frame. So we've got our bolt up in there, body cushion, radiator support, and you want to make sure the driver's side's going to want, you're going to want the slanted piece towards the front. That's how you know it's driver's side. Washer, lock washer, and then your nut. Tighten it up just a little bit, and then we're ready to mount that on there. The driver's side is going to be held in place with the power steering gearbox bolts, so you want to make sure you hang on to those. Alright, now that we've got that mounted up in there with our gearbox bolts, there are two other 3/8 bolt holes here in the frame that you will need to drill. We're just going to use 3/8 by 1-inch bolts to connect those in there. So we're going to go ahead, put it in there. Washers, star washer, and a nut. And then you will notice the second bolt hole back here does overlap with the oval slot that's actually factory in the frame, and that's just fine. Just take your 3/8 bolt on the outside. What I do with mine, I put a 1/2-inch washer on the inside, then a 3/8 washer, star washer, and nut, and it held in there just fine. Alright, so we've got the driver's side frame horn installed here. We're going to repeat the same process for the passenger side, installing our little radiator support bracket first. And then you will need to follow the step pattern on the passenger side using one of the factory holes there to get your other holes drilled in that bracket, get it bolted up, and then we'll be moving on to the inner frame horn brackets and our front bulkhead. Alright, moving on to the inner brackets here, we have the driver's side inner frame horn bracket and the passenger side inner frame horn bracket. And you'll notice that the bolt holes are farther apart on the passenger compared to the driver. So we're going to go ahead and use 3/8 by 1-inch hardware and get these installed. Don't forget using your star washers. Make sure to keep everything loose for now until you get everything else installed. That way you can account for adjustments if they need to be made. Alright, now we've got our inner drivers and passenger side front frame horn brackets installed. We're going to go ahead and install the front cross brace bulkhead. Now you want to do this is you want to make sure to install it with these slots up. You don't want these down. So it's just going to go ahead. You sit on the front like that, and you see we've got slots here in the front that line up with the outer frame horn and the inner frame horn brackets. And we're going to go ahead and attach this with 3/8 by 1-inch hardware. And again, making sure to keep everything loose. That way, if you need to make adjustments later on, you can. Now these center slots here are going to be for your front bumper brackets, and we'll show you how to mount those later on in the video. Alright, the last bracket that we're going to be mounting up front here is going to be the grill bracket, and this is actually going to help support your grill on your 47 to 53, 54, 55 first series pickups here. So these are just going to be installed with a 3/8 by 1 inch bolt. Alright, so we finished up bolting down the front end pieces here. Next thing we would do would be to install the engine mounts, and we've already done that here. These are the small block Chevy mechanical fuel pump mounts. To see how those get installed along with the LS and Grand Slam mounts, head over and check out our engine mount installation video on our YouTube channel there. So next thing we're going to do, we're going to get into the cab mounts here. Alright, we're going to be getting into the 47 to 54 Chevy S10 conversion kit cab mounting here for those. A couple differences between the kits. We have the 47 to 48 cab mount, which is that center teeter-totter cab mount, and then 49 to 54, 55 first series, it changed to the 2 mounting points on the outside. We're going to go ahead and get these brackets going here. Alright, so we're going to start with the driver's side here. Driver's side front cab mounts come in 2 pieces. You've got an inner and an outer. What we're going to start by doing here first is putting some bolts on the inner cab mount. Putting 3 1/2 by 3 inch bolts down through here and a few holes in the frame. Doing that. We don't want to put any nuts and bolts on them yet because our outer bracket's actually going to utilize those same 3 inch bolts. So you want to bring those up, and I like to hold those on with the 1/2 inch by 4 inch bolts that go through the outer cab bracket, through the frame, and then onto the inside. So we'll put all those through there, then we'll go ahead and hold those on with our 1/2 inch washer, 1/2 inch star washer, and then our nut. And you want to remember to keep all these items loose here. That way you have room to adjust things if they're not quite fitting quite right. Move on to the underside. Alright, that's it for our 1/2 inch hardware, so we're going to move on to 3/8 by 1 inch bolts that connect the top part of the inner and outer cab mounts to each other. Washer, star washer, and then your nut. And once you get all the hardware put together here, you can go through and tighten things back up. Alright, now we're going to move on to the passenger side. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and install the passenger side cab mounts here as well. Again, 2-piece, just like the other side, and we are going to be using 1/2 inch by 4 inch bolts to mount this side. I'm going to make sure we're using the rear holes in the bracket. Then before putting our washers and nuts on there, we want to put our inside bracket on, and it's going to sit on top of the frame a little bit here. And a couple more to fill in. We've got some 3/8 by 1 inch bolts up here. Alright, we're going to be using our 3/8 hardware. Don't forget your star washers. And remember to only tighten those down for the last time during your final assembly. Alright, now that we've got those installed, we're going to move on to the rear cab setup. Alright, so with the rear cab setup, we're going to go ahead and start with our rear cab uprights. We've already got our holes pre-drilled in the frame. One of the holes towards the bottom is going to be pretty close to the factory hole. That's just fine. It's not going to affect anything. There's plenty of other holes in it as well. It's not going to go anywhere or do anything. So we're going to be using 3/8 by 1 inch hardware in here. Both sides there. Going to have a couple in the top up here, and then a few on the side. Put on your 3/8 washers, 3/8 nuts on everything, and then repeat the process for the other side. So we have the rear cab cross member for the 47 to 48. You want to make sure the slots are towards the back. And then you'll have this center teeter-totter cab mount. You're actually going to place your 2 rubber body cushions, one here and one here, and then you would set this cab mount on top of that for 47 to 48. Now we'll show you the 49 to 54 install here in a minute. Alright, so we've got our rear cab cross member into place. It's supposed to slide just between the rear cab uprights. Now, after powder coating, it could make it just a little bit snugger. You might have to tap it in with a mallet. In the case that your slots on the sides here don't line up, you also might need to take a strap, pull your frame together a little bit, and get your slots lined up for your bolts. So we showed you how to put the 47 to 48 cab mount in the center there. Now we're going to show you how to install the 49 to 54 outriggers. So these are actually going to slide over the top of everything, the rear cab upright, the cross member, all of it. And then you're also going to take 3/8 by 1 inch bolts into there. Washers, star washers, and then your nut. Remember to keep things loose again. Same step on the opposite side there. Making sure everything's lined up. And keeping it loose is always helpful because, as I just showed there, a little bit of movement can go a long way. And nuts. And also on the bottom of these outriggers here, there's actually another hole. So for that hole is where you're going to drill once you're done mocking up your cab, your body, everything's sitting right. You're going to drill that hole down there so you can put another bolt through it so these aren't falling. So we're going to repeat the process for the other side and then move on to the next thing.